Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Definitely appreciate the support. This will be another part to the cover 2 series. This will be part 3. Part 1, we went over cover 2 match, an introduction to that coverage. Part 2, I showed a lot of different route combinations and how cover 2 match interacts with empty sets. Probably my go-to coverage against empty. So I showed like a full game with a guy who's stubborn and wanted to stay in empty sets. You got to see how cover 2 match interacts with that, so definitely click this link if you want to check those videos out. Here we are in part 3, and we're going to go over another variant that you can add into your collection to throw at your opponent. So as you see, 422031, I'm not going to go over this. You guys know what this is. We have the double high side, the single high side. We have different variants under these coverages. So obviously we are in the cover 2 side. We have cover 2 spot. That's where you just play cover 2 with no match on. We have cover 2. That's where you play cover 2 with match on, and it does have some matching principles in it. Hopefully I'll get into that another time. And we have cover 2 sink. That's where you play cover 2 with squat corners on the outside. Everything underneath this line is with match on. Okay. Cover 2 seam. That is where you play cover 2, but you take that middle player and you get them off of middle read. Then that makes your vertical hook players match certain route combinations up the field. You guys know how to do cover 2 match. I'll leave a link for that. You have cover 2 pressures that I'm going to go over, I think, in part 4. Cover 2 invert is another video in itself. A lot of videos for that, but we're going to go over cover 2 clip and what it is. Okay, first and foremost with the cover 2 clip, you have to make sure you have match on. So, you guys know how to do that. And you pick cover 2, obviously. Okay. So cover 2 clip is something, it's like a check. Okay. So it's something that you play when you're playing cover 2 against trips set. So like a 3x1 set, as you see here. 1, 2, 3. We have these guys over here. So when you get a trip set, a 3x1 set, this is when you can check into cover 2 clip. Okay, so can you play cover 2 match against this? Yes, you can play cover 2 match against almost any formation with the exception of, I would say, tight sets. I think you get into issues with cover 2 match, but that's neither here nor there. But most formations, empty sets, 3x1 sets, regular spread 2x2 sets, you can play cover 2 match. Okay. So obviously you guys know how to play cover 2 match. Here I make my adjustments and I do it within, I would say, 1 second. That's how quick you can get into cover 2 match, right? You guys know you got to put this guy in the deep middle, put these two guys in the soft squats, and you have to user the middle player here, okay? And you relate to the number 3. So again, go check out my cover 2 match video. You'll know how to play cover 2 match. So this is just kind of like a quick review. They're going to run 4 verts, and as you see, we're in cover 2, and you guys know that they should turn and match with these routes. We relate to the number 3, so we play inside leverage on that vertical by the number 3. Okay, there it is. Cover 2 match against 3x1, 4 verts. Now you'll see an issue here. I want you to watch the back. Okay, when you play cover 2 match, the apex player, second defender in from the weak side, player here, he does not really match this player. So if this player leaks out into the flat this way, leaks out into the flat this way, or wheels out, that can be a potential problem. Okay, but we'll get into how to deal with that with the cover 2 clip. So here, let's play cover 2 match. Again, quick review. You'll see how it interacts against an offense that doesn't send 4 verts. It really just converts into regular cover 2, and that's just one of the benefits of cover 2 match. It's an interactive defense. We are matching routes when we have to and not matching routes when we don't have to, right? So the number 3 goes immediately out, right? And we're matching the number 3, but when he goes out, we don't have to match that. When we notice number 2 is out as well, that's when we can hang back inside and look for the middle field. Okay, now what I don't like about cover 2 in this game is the safety play is really bad. Okay, so if you take into account this safety, this is a split field defense, right? We're in the 4-2-2-0 side, right? Cover 2 is on the double high side, so this side is really independent of this side. Okay, So with the safety here, he's really only concerned with 1 and 2, not even necessarily 2, just 1. So, you know, as a safety, you can really just read the release of this player. And when he goes inside and slants like that, there's really no need to continue to backpedal into space. You know, you would like for him, I would assume, I would like him to do it this way. It's just nailed down, right? So imagine if we're the safety, we snap, you know, we get our eyes on number 1, we see him take an inside release. Okay, and another thing too, you know, this is just one of the issues of the cover 2, right? So we see how an opponent may be able to attack this with the dragon concept here. You know, with this guy going in and he coming out, he becomes, when they cross, this guy becomes the new number 1. You're the new number 2. Everything's relative within the play. So at that point, if you're relating to the number 2, you would like for these guys to get a call going, right? At least I would assume, okay? You know, in, and then maybe you can cut this guy off and play it a lot better, you know, and cut the route. He would take, obviously, the flat, okay? We can watch how that transitions over there. They get off kind of late, right? So this guy overtakes this guy. This window is open, right? And by the time you read 3 and 2 here, you start forming back in. I mean, that window is just there. You know, this is where I would like the safety to kind of hammer down and make a really big hit. But that's neither here nor there, right? No defense is perfect. All right, this is 2Clip. So this is something that I got from a drive online on Twitter. A guy uploaded a drive with a whole bunch of stuff from NFL coaches and their defensive playbooks. I looked into Vic Fangio's playbook. It was 194 pages long. I mean, the stuff gets kind of deep, right? So I don't know whose playbook this is from, but this is why I call it 2Clip. And as you can see what's going on here. We are, change the color here. So this is a 3x1 set. Okay. And instead of deep half and cloud over here, we're just going to man this player up. And that awards us the ability to steal the free safety, help out front side. And what he's going to do is going to poach, as you can read it, poach number 3 strong, which is this player. So if number 3 goes deep and inside, then that's our man. Cut him off, inside leverage, take the route, cut it off. Okay. And, you know, if we get like 4 verts, obviously I'll show it. Now, if number 3 were to go something like to the out or the flat or something like that, well, then we can work to help double this player. But I do a number of different things as opposed to that. Okay. So why don't I go to the field? Okay. So what do? We still want matching principles over here, right? So if we were to get verticals over here, we would like for these guys to match that upfield so we don't put too much stress on the safety, right? Same 2-match rules. So what do? We put him in a soft squat, okay? So what else do we need to do? Well, we need to man up the backside corner. And you notice how I can do this all from this position. I don't have to click on the player and change him, right? So I press triangle a couple of times and make the adjustments, get him in the man. I can even shade him inside, right? All from this position. You want to kind of get used to that. You don't want to be clicking around to different players. You know, it takes a little time to kind of get used to. So now we have him inside leverage. So he has the sideline help because this is divider rules, right? So he's completely out of our mind. We're not necessarily worried about him. This is why, you know, if this player were to go inside, we're going to use this player. Okay, because the defense does not play right if you do not use this player. We are taking the rules off of 2Clip and we are applying them as the weak side safety. Okay, but this is why, like, if this guy were to go this way, I don't necessarily go and help this guy because I expect you to play fairly well with inside leverage and the sideline as your help. Okay, and I want you to watch how this defense plays against 4 verts. I want you to watch something interesting. Now, it doesn't play exactly like how we read on the shot. Okay, but I want you to watch what happens. I'm gonna play 4 verts. What are we doing? We are relating to strong side number 3, right? So this is something you can throw into the toolbox against an opponent. You know, if you are a cover 2 player, a cover 2 team, right? This is the beauty of understanding all of the different variants of cover 2. Every single time you run a play and then they go back to the huddle and they see that you were running cover two, it throws your opponent off because they're like, why did it play so differently, right? Or why was that guy there when he's not supposed to be there? Or why, I ran those vertical routes, 4 verts, and they were trailing it like 2-man, right? And every single time we come back and it's reading cover two. And that's because we're playing different variants of cover two. So we're relating to number three. If number three goes deep inside, that's our guy. We take him, right? Inside leverage. You see how we have superior leverage on inside breaking routes because we are already inside, right? But take a look at what the middle read and the vert hook here does, right? Both go vertical, right? So he has to turn and match, and he has to turn and match. But watch what this player does. He turns, and that number two gets doubled. Okay, but that's what I hate is, I tested this out, and I noticed it's really, what I've noticed is it's only when it's like 4 verts where this guy's going deep inside, right? If he just runs like a seam pattern, it plays a little wonky, right? So there's another adjustment I'm going to show you to where we play a little bit better in regards to 2-clip. So I go back to the screen to showcase to you. I mean, think about all these different coverages you can run, and it's all from the same cover 2 play, right? It's except cover 2 pressures, which is something that I will get into, and cover 2 clip is different as well. Okay, so I mean, football is so deep. Look at this is a toolbox, and obviously I don't have all the different names from the different variants from all of these families, right? These are trees. These are, why does it keep doing that? These are branches to the cover 2 zone tree, and obviously there are branches to each and every tree, right? Well, in each branch, we can go deeper into that branch and do a lot of different adjustments in that branch to make it play differently, right? So I mean, we can zoom in a 2-clip, and now we're in the 2-clip branch, and we can have a whole bunch of stuff in here, right? I mean, that just gets way too complicated to write it down, but I only put it this way to show you how you can be kind of creative, right? So this is what I came up with. Watch what happens. Okay, so I remember this part. Remember with cover 2 clip, right? So obviously man up. We're going to use this player, relate to the number 3, and then we soft squat that player. That's all we did, right? What happened on 4 verts? Well, he actually doubled the number 2, right? And he ran with him. Watch what happens. I mean, this is what's really cool, right? You can change how a defense plays by just moving a player, right? So look what happens when we move him outside leverage of the number 2. Watch what happens. Snap the ball. Look at that. Look at that, right? Watch the replay. What's going to happen is on 4 verts, right? You're man to man. We are relating to number 3 strong. When he goes inside deep, we take him. Okay. Well, he relates to number 2 if he goes inside on deep verts. So he takes him, right? When we had him inside, well, he ran with him as well, so he was double teamed. But when we moved him outside, well, now he just plays vert hook, right? See that? He doesn't run with him. So that helps out if a back kind of leaks out into the flat this way. He can rally and make a play when he makes the throw. You see that? So that's very interesting, right? Now, the problem with that, again, so you guys got to be careful with that, okay? The problem with that variation of cover 2 clip is that when they don't run 4 verts, I haven't tested it out on a lot of different routes, so this is something I'm going to start playing around with online when I run into 3x1 to see how it interacts with different route combinations. Usually I fine tune it so I know everything about most of it in the different route combinations, but I figured I'd just throw this out there for you guys. You guys can check out 2-clip if you want, and then later on I'll make another video with a more fine-tuned approach to it, okay? But what I've noticed is with 2-clip, obviously with the adjustments, man-to-man, soft squat, right? Whatever we do with these players, when you know, we have different route combinations over here. We move this guy outside. Sometimes, you know, it doesn't seem like this guy matches the number 2 going deep, right? Or he's really late in transition to do it. Okay, so that can pose some problems. So, you know, here's a different version of 2-clip. I think this is probably a lot more sound. Now, remember, we had problems with this back leaking out, and we can alleviate that by moving him outside and he plays more vert hook. But again, I just don't like how he transitions late on the vertical of number 2 a lot of times. Okay, and it's not like we can move the safety further inside to kind of cushion that problem, because this guy plays underneath trail on a vertical pattern up here, right? So then now that honey hole shot is just a lot more available. Okay, so what we can do is, remember that problem where he goes out into the flat? I want you to watch what happens here. Okay, I made a quick adjustment. Okay, I'm going to relate to the number 3. He's going to match this upfield. He's going to match this upfield. He's deep half. Man to man. I want you to watch what happens here. See that? And I'll show you the adjustment I made. Replay. Our backer takes him to the flat. Now I want you to watch what happens when I make this same adjustment, right? The same adjustment. That's the adjustment right there. Okay. So we put him in soft squat. We man him up. And then we man up the middle player on the back. Okay. Now again, if you notice, when we do this, okay, well, that turns him into, you know, a player that's going to match. Remember how you do it in 2-seam. In 2-seam, when you take the middle read out of the play, well, now this guy will match on certain route combinations on this side, and he will match as well. That's how we really get to the 2 match. We just get the middle read out of the play, right? But when we man him up on the back, we get the same principles. Now these guys are still matching, so we still get 2 match on this side. Okay, he's man to man, and when he goes to the flat, well, obviously he takes him because he's man. But watch what happens if he goes this way. Not the ball, and you see how he pointed there, right? He's obviously making a call to this player. Hey, I'm out leveraged to the flat. I don't know what he would call that, you know, a push alert, whatever, right? Point is, they're making a communication call, so this guy is usually in vert hook. Well, now he takes that man responsibility, and then he takes his responsibility as vert hook. And there it is. 2-clip, cover 2-clip. So quick recap. You call cover 2. Okay, you turn him into soft squat. Man him up man to man with the weak side 1, and then you man him up with the back. Okay, and that to me is probably your best form of cover 2-clip, and you have to use the weak side safety and relate to the number 3. Okay, if number 3 runs inside, okay, you have to take him. Okay, even if he were to go, now if he goes underneath shallow, you may be able to leave him. The problem is, and this is what I hate with this game, okay, man, I wish we could make our own rules, guys. I would have so much fun doing this stuff, right? Think about the rules we can have here. Okay, if number 3 goes, and this is the whole point of cover 2-clip as I read it, right? Like if this guy were to go underneath inside, I don't think the safety would be worried about that route, right? Because then that's something that the underneath coverage can deal with. That's when he can look to work and help on number 1, right? But obviously in Madden, you know, if he goes on a shallow route, you would expect the vert hook to kind of widen with that and allow the throw to take him to that throw. But you know, I haven't even ran it yet. I would assume that he would just play his vert hook and just allow him to continue, right? And not widen with him. Okay, so that's a mistake. I don't think you guys, like if you guys were to run this and you relate to the number 3, he goes to the, like a drag pattern across the field underneath, I wouldn't be too quick to try to jump that as a safety, right? Because you're leaving a lot of space to be attacked deep up the field. Now you shouldn't be too worried, right? Because if we can draw up some stuff, deep post, right? You know, he would be inside leverage of that. Okay. The problem would come, this is what route combinations is all about. If he were to hit this deep middle, this guy would stay under, right? You would get an under call. he would go under, he would go post. Well, now he's not going to relate to this because both aren't vertical, so he would stay in his vertical hook, right? And his deep half safety, again, I mean, I'm getting into this, like, the safety play is so bad, right? The safety would just play into la la land, right? Meanwhile, you're chasing that drag, and this is where this would just be wide open, right? Okay, so that's why you got to be hesitant of that. You want to take him if he goes deep inside, you know, you take that route. But if he goes underneath, well then, you know, you really kind of want to stay deep middle just in case, right? Now, if your opponent keeps running something like this and he keeps throwing this, keeps throwing, well then now, okay, now you know you can probably take that because he's not drawing up a route combination to attack this part of the field by stretching you with underneath drag and etc. And there's different, you know, you can obviously man this guy up with this guy. You know, playing against opponents, it's just a dynamic field of play, right? You kind of adjust to what he's doing and etc. The whole point is for you to kind of understand what two clip is. Okay, so yeah, it's another thing you can throw into the bucket. I haven't necessarily utilized it so much against opponents. I figured I'd throw this at you guys so you can kind of add this to your repertoire or at least know what it is, right? Now, why would you use this? Maybe I'll get into that in another video. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you keep coming back, man, and peace.